MC Lebek and the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. I have been listening to Doctor Who, Big Finish Doctor Who. Once again, I listen to lots of Big Finish Doctor Who, and this flavour of Big Finish Doctor Who is in fact the New Adventures of Bernice Summerfield, Volume 5, in which she is matched up with a alternate universe Doctor played by David Warner. I'm sure you know David Warner. He was your go-to Brit in any American production from 1985 to 2005, maybe probably more. Like, yeah, if you'll see him in Babylon 5, in Star Trek. Star Trek, I think it was a couple of roles. Didn't he play the Klingon Chancellor? Anyway, in Star Trek 6. But I digress. These sets have been really, really good. I've loved his Doctor. I've been really interested in it. He plays him kind of like a hungover William Hartnell, is how he describes him. Just a fair description. This set, however, I'm afraid, not very good. I would recommend skipping it, giving it a miss. So, this is my journey with it. So it's a 4-story set. The first story is called The Pride of the Lampion, which is essentially deals with a academic error made real, then turning into a genuine universe-threatening threat. And yeah, it just didn't really engage me that much. I found it kind of bland, kind of boring. I didn't really believe the world or that they set up, or I'll care about the characters that much. But that's my personal prejudice against the world of academia. Would say it's coming through. So that was the first one. Second, then I started listening to the second story, Clear History, and it's about people living in a virtual world, virtual reality. And again, didn't really engage me. I found it kind of bland, kind of boring. The world didn't convince me, and it didn't seem to have any real credible threat, or the characters just didn't. They didn't convince me. So then I went on to the third story. It's called Dead and Breakfast, and for some reason I really can't remember why. The Doctor and Benny are trapped on the planet, which is some kind of totalitarian rules on what's right and what's wrong, and so they've got to pretend to be married. That's kind of fun, but generally speaking, kind of bland. It didn't engage me, didn't really interest me. So at this point, I went, well, what's going on with this box set? Why is everything so unengaging? So then I went to BigFinish.com and looked up who wrote it, which is my go-to thing, and I see it's for female first-time writers. So firstly, yeah, I'm really into getting in new voices, getting in new talent, which is the lifeblood of Big Finish. And you're going to come up with great new writers by doing that. There's John Dorney is a great example. They're all female. I'm not so happy with. Now I'm not opposed to anybody, to there being female science fiction writers or female writers. I mean, I don't know. I can think of a ton of them who I would run out and buy. Kate Orman. I wish we could see more of her work. She was very big in doing the New Adventures in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, and she. But there's so many great female authors that it seems to me that there is no barrier for entry, dependent on one's gender, for being a writer, a science fiction writer. It seems to me that the reason there may be an imbalance in genre things like science fiction, comic books, is because the vast majority of the audience that it really attaches to these things, these kind of daring do adventures, is male. It just is. That's not to say there's not a female audience. Obviously, there is a female audience, but it skews more to men. That's why you end up getting, I think, end up getting more male writers than female writers. But I don't think there's any barrier to entry based on one's genitalia. And to base an entire set on this ideological agenda, which is based in falsehood, I would say, we've seen it so many times before, and it always has the same result. Let's look at a few other examples. Kathleen Kennedy, for the head honcho at Star Wars, before before about a year before whatever the Last Jedi came out, she proudly says our entire story unit is female. Yeah, and I thought fine, and yeah, okay. Here's the trouble with when you hire, we're using diversity as opposed to, I'm not going to say talent, but like aptitude for the specific genre. If you put diversity first, you end up with bland, unengaging stories at best, which is what you got here. At worst, with Last Jedi, you got bland, unengaging stories that contradict the very essence of of what the thing is. Or in case of Star Trek Discovery, most embarrassing thing you can do for Star Trek Discovery is describe the plot accurately. That's really it. That's the most insulting thing you can do for Star Trek Discovery, which, by the way, looks fantastic. But again, they hired on diversity as opposed to aptitude, and you get like this incoherent babble that forgets its own rules from episode. I was going to say from one episode to the next. No, it's like within the own episode they will forget their own rules because it's written by people who don't understand science fiction. That again isn't the case here, but I am so yeah. I really wish they would just put a warning label on that this is a diversity-driven set, and I would know to step away. I feel this was a bait and switch. They used existing characters which have an existing lore and an expectation, and they did it to force this ideological agenda that women are in some way disadvantaged in Western society, which I don't believe, and I certainly don't believe they're disadvantaged in the fields of writing. Like maybe okay, there is a vastly disproportionate male dominance of the bricklaying trade. I would say, yeah, probably. I haven't done research into that, but I'm willing to guess there's a vast disproportion of disproportionate male dominance of bricklayers. That's because that's kind of what men often skew to. So yeah, I feel this whole thing was kind of a bait and switch. I'm annoyed. I normally when it's and a lot of ranges are Big Finish. I buy it based on the range rather than based on the creative team. That's not going to happen anymore because of this set. I'm gonna really scrutinize each one I'm gonna buy. And again, if it's this kind of thing, no, and I'm happy for them to bring in new writers. I have no problem with the gender of those writers. I'm unhappy when they're shoehorned into something, creating an inferior product, and that's what this is: an inferior product. The final story in set is called Borrowed Time, which is about a sentient train that, and again, didn't really believe in the world, didn't engage me. The characters didn't really connect with me. It was bland and unengaging. And that's the two ways I can describe the set: bland and unengaging. And it's a real pity that they chose to do this. So, and I hate recommending you not to buy something from Big Finish because I want them to succeed. But that's what I'm doing. I'm recommending you give this one a miss. My name is Philip Beck, and the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.